to all of you. So, welcome to our session. Okay, the Friday session. And it seems we are not too many, but I think the others will join us along the way. Just confirm whether my audio is working. So, David, you can hear me very well.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, fair enough. Hi. So yesterday, that is, we were discussing on audit sampling. Okay, maybe just a quick recap of the last thing that we discussed. Okay, it was more towards the evaluation of the sample results. Okay, we say that as an auditor, okay, you need to, as an auditor, you need to definitely, because the result of the sample is one of the guiding you. In case, for example, it was a test of control, it will guide you in concluding as to whether the controls are working or not. Okay, so you have to make that evaluation. The controls you have to evaluate the result to draw that conclusion. Okay, as to whether the controls, for example, are working or they're not working. Okay. In case you are doing a test of detail, okay, the same thing apply. Okay, you want to assess are the misstatement material, or are they material or immaterial? Okay, so don't forget you're going to base this from your tolerable misstatement level. Okay, so you compare. Okay, what is the result of the sample versus what was my tolerable misstatement? Okay, so you can compare the two of them. If it is above, then of course that may imply, for example, you carry out more tests. Okay, because the misstatement is above, the actual misstatement is above the tolerable misstatement level. Okay, so you must evaluate it. Like the essence of doing the sampling is for you to be able to draw a conclusion. Okay, so you must evaluate the result of the sample. Okay. And you mentioned the tolerable misstatement. Okay, so there are two things that you need to check on. Okay, if you're doing a test control, don't get you need to have, before even doing the test, okay, even with current test control, you need to have already had an idea, okay, have already come up with what we refer to as the tolerable rate of deviation, okay, the tolerable rate of deviation, okay, and it says that the tolerable rate of deviation, okay, is if the controls, if the actual controls in the sample, okay, exceed this particular, for example, percent, okay, then we are going to conclude that the controls of the company are ineffective. Okay, so you said this is going to be the maximum, okay, input, okay, the maximum that I, as the auditor, I can tolerate. Okay, any controls above, any deviation, okay, above this particular percent become, therefore, it concludes, okay, that the company internal control systems are ineffective. Okay, that will tolerable rate of deviation. Tolerable misstatement, it's you as an auditor, okay, to set it out. Okay, this is on the test control. Okay, that is the actual misstatement exceeds this particular amount. Okay, the tolerable misstatement I have set. Okay, then it means therefore that particular control, that particular misstatement, okay, becomes therefore material misstatement, which may warrant you as an auditor to carry out a further audit procedure. Okay, I think that what we left us by yesterday. Okay, the already mentioned. Okay, evaluation of sample results. Okay, we have the test of detail, test of control. Okay, project the monitoring errors and compare to the tolerable misstatement. So these two, don't get it's you to make that projection. Okay, so simply you project. Okay, at what amount will the misstatement, for example, be considered to be material? If the misstatement exceeds that particular amount, okay, so you're going to conclude that actually the misstatement become material misstatement, which warrant further audit procedure on them. Okay. On the control, no need of projection. So simply you decide on the error rate. Okay. If, for example, you say that I can tolerate one control not working out of 10. Okay. One control out of 10, 10%. Okay. That simply become therefore your tolerable misstatement. Okay. Your tolerable rate of deviation. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So on the test of detail. Okay. For test of details, the auditor should project monitor the errors found in the sample to the population and compare this to the tolerable misstatement. Okay? I think I've already mentioned, okay, that generally once you carry out the evaluation, okay, of the sample, so you have the sample and you have the population, okay. If, for example, out of the sample, okay, let me have my whiteboard, okay, just to illustrate that point. Okay. So in this example, this is our sample, okay? And out of the sample, assume this was sample on invoices, we want to say on the misstatement. And out of the invoices, okay, assume that there were 10 invoices, okay? We carried a sample, these were 10 invoices, that was our sample, okay? And out of the 10 invoices, okay, one of the invoice was misstated. So one invoice, there was misstatement on one of the invoice, okay? And the amount misstated, okay, the invoice, for example, was meant to be 10,000, okay? This is what was meant to be, okay. However, what was recorded, okay, what was recorded, or as per the invoice value, okay, was, let's say, 11,000. So there was a misstatement, okay, of 1,000, okay. So this is from the sample, okay. So we have a misstatement of 1,000. If, for example, the total invoice value of those 10 invoices, okay, so the total invoice value, okay, total value of those invoices, okay. If, for example, it was, let's say, equal to, let's say, 20,000, just an example, okay. You can see, therefore, the misstatement from the sample, okay, the misstatement from the sample is 1,000, okay, out of 20,000, okay, and in percent, that will give us, I think, 5%. That give us 5%, okay. Therefore, this is 5% is the misstatement that we did find on the sample, the result of the sample, okay. Now you're trying to project it. Now we can project the entire population. If the entire population, okay, don't forget the e-sample was made of 10 invoices. If the entire population of the invoices, okay, was equal to, for example, let's say 1 million, okay, we can say that from the population, the misstatement that you're going to find on the population is equal to the 5%, okay, was equal to the 5% that we found from the sample, okay, so it will be equal to 5%, okay, we multiply by the total population, in this case 1 million, okay. So therefore the misstatement you're going to find on the population, therefore is going to be equal to the chance of the misstatement of the population is 5% of 1 million, therefore to give us 50,000. Okay, so the misstatement that we expect on the population is equal to 50,000. Okay. Now this is the projection. Look, this is simply a projection. Okay, so this is a projection. Okay. Now you compare that projection with the tolerable misstatement which you already set. Okay, the tolerable misstatement which you already set. Okay, if, for example, the tolerable misstatement which you had set, okay, the tolerable misstatement you already set was equal, for example, 100,000. Okay. Now we shall be comparing the projection versus the misstatement level, the total misstatement which you had set. Okay. In this case, therefore, we can have the conclusion is that these misstatements are immaterial. Okay. So they don't warrant, for example, any further analysis. Okay. They are immaterial misstatements because they don't exceed or tolerable misstatement level. But you need to make the projection. Okay. From the sample to the population. The 5% here. Okay. So the 5% here. Okay, the 5% here, you project the entire population of 1 million. So 5% multiplied by the total population value. Okay, so that is what we mean by test of detail, trying to project the result of the sample to the entire population. Then comparing that with the tolerable misstatement level, which of course you're going to have set already before even you begin your test of details. Okay, on the sample. Okay, I hope that was clear. Okay. And generally, where you have established an error to be an anomaly, okay, if it's a one-off error, which I think we did mention yesterday, if it's a one-off error, then we do not need to include it in the projection. Okay, so we remove it when projecting. Okay, so if it's a one-off error, don't forget normally we don't expect it, okay, to exist in a type population. Okay, so we are only going to be projecting those errors, those misstatements, which we expect that are going to be recurring in the type population. So in case it is an anomaly, okay, so we do not project it to the entire population. We only project those misstatements, those errors, which we expect that they might repeat themselves in the type population. Okay, so in case it's an anomaly, so therefore don't forget, do not include it. Okay, if it's an anomaly, do not include it. Okay. When a class of transaction or account balances has been divided into strata, the error projected is projected for each of the strata separately. Okay, so you're going to be projecting from each of the group. Okay, so we project for each of the group. Okay. Okay, that's on the test of detail. Okay, when it comes to projecting the result, when carrying out a test of detail. Okay, don't forget, in case it's a one-off error, don't forget we do not we exclude it. Okay, we do not include it when projecting the result of the sample to the entire population. Okay, so kindly note, take note of that. Okay, so here I have a question which I want us to go through. Okay, I have a question here which I would want us to go through. Okay, so go through this, then we discuss. Okay, so from this question, okay, I presuppose that you have already gone through it. Okay, and don't forget, here we have our sample. Okay, and the sample value we have been told here is 200,000. Okay, the errors in a sample, okay, we find is 9,000. So 9,000 is the error or the misstatement that as an auditor you found on those receivables that you're auditing. Okay, and the total value of the sample of the receivables that you are auditing was 200,000. Okay, so simply, okay, so in case I was to go back to my board. Okay. Okay. So here we are saying that the sample, okay, the sample value is equal to 200,000. Okay. And you have here the errors that you found on the sample that you're testing, and the monitor is 9,000. Okay. So therefore, you can see therefore the error rate we find, okay, the error rate that we find on the sample is equal to 9,000 out of the 200,000. Okay. And in case, for example, we express that as a percent, that will give us how much? I think that's give us therefore 4.5%. Okay, let's give us 4.5%. Okay, that's the error rate that we find on the sample. Okay, so since these errors are not anomalous, okay, so since these errors are not anomalous, okay, therefore now you can use or you can project them, okay, into the entire population. Okay, don't forget here the population was equal to the population. Okay, was equal to $1 million. Okay, it's $1 million. Okay, that means therefore the errors that we expect, okay, on the entire population, okay, is equal to our error rate, which is 4.5% times the entire population value of 1 million. Okay, let's give therefore 45,000. Okay, let's give therefore $45,000 become therefore the errors that we expect to exist in the entire population. Okay. So this is the error rate, okay? So this is the error rate, okay? And this is the error that we expect in the entire population, okay? So in case you have to go back to our, okay, go back to our slide here, okay? Assume the error was anomalous, calculate the error expected in the population. I think this one you have already done, okay? But this is the error that we expect in the entire population, okay? It's 45,000. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so we expect them to be 45,000. So here you can simply say we from multiplication we have just done. This is equal to 45,000. Okay. Now, assuming the tolerable misstatement was set at 40,000, okay? So this was set at 40,000, okay? Explain what action should be taken, okay? So the first thing, of course, is to compare the error that we expect the calculation versus our tolerable misstatement. In this case, it was set at 40,000, okay? So simply, therefore, we can say that the misstatement that exists in the calculation is way above the total misstatement, which you had set at 40,000. Okay, therefore, this particular it warrants, therefore, they consider that this misstatement, okay, seems to be material misstatement. Okay, or therefore, what do you do as an auditor? Okay, then definitely that means, therefore, you need to carry out more audit procedure. Okay, you need to carry out more audit procedure. Okay, like sort of in quotes, a full substantive procedure. You need, for example, either you can increase your sample size. Okay, try to understand. Okay, what, for example, could have led to the error being material. Okay, so you can increase the sample size. You carry out more procedures. For example, you can decide. I need to assign, for example, more experienced personnel. More experienced personnel. Okay, in that particular case, okay, because these errors, they seem to be material, okay, so it warrants a further action by the auditor, okay. You can't just ignore. You have to carry out more audit procedure, okay. Either increase the sample size, for example, assign more experienced personnel in that particular account, okay, because here it means, therefore, it's like you're being given an alert, okay, so here you need to take caution, okay, so it warrants a further procedure carried by the auditor, okay. Okay. The error project is above, okay? The error, I think you already projected, okay? So, yes, maybe Karen has a question, okay? So let me answer that. So let me go back. So, there. So Karen.
Yes.
Ask.
Okay. Now we've calculated the first part A, and we found it is 45,000.
Yes, 45,000.
And and we've been told in section B that
yes,
assuming the total misstatement was set to 40,000, explain what action should be taken.
Yes.
Okay, where do we go for more procedures instead of just making a conclusion?
Now, don't forget, if you remember, we say that you have to be very careful with the element of pervasiveness. Okay, if, for example, this account does not affect other audit areas, okay, so you can conclude, okay. But however, get to note, okay, that maybe this is an outcome, okay, from some other errors that occurred in another area. For example, which other account do you think might be misstated?
Apart from receivables.
Yeah.
Okay, we can say creditors account.
And credit account, or maybe the sales figure, okay, the sales that were made on credit, isn't it? Because the receivable, don't forget, is going to arise from the sales that were made by the company on credit, okay? So since here the receivables seem to be misstated, then you may have to go back and say, could the sales figure also be misstated, okay? That's why we need to carry out more audit procedure. Okay, if an account it's a one-off account. Okay, we don't expect it to exist or to affect other audit areas. Then you can conclude. You may not need a further audit procedure. But here we need to take a caution. Could there be some other audit areas, okay, that could be affected or that could be affected by this particular misstatement? Okay, that's why we are trying to carry out further audit procedures. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why, because it might be that here you are seeing an outcome, okay? Maybe this particular misstatement came from other accounts, okay? They came from all the way from a sales figure, okay? That's why we need further audit procedure on that matter.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the error that you have projected, okay, the 45,000, okay, I think you have said that it is above the tolerable misstatement limit that you already set, okay? That means, therefore, as an auditor, you need to have further evidence is needed, okay? This could be done, okay? You can extend the sample test in the procedure and then reperform, okay? From your now bigger sample, okay? You can design further substantive audit procedures, okay? Don't forget here, trying to, just in case, okay, that this matter is pervasive, okay, there are other audit areas, okay, that could be affected by this misstatement that you've just found, okay. That's why we cannot stop here, okay. We need to go a bit deeper, okay. If the further evidence allows the rate to conclude that the error rate in the population does not exceed the misstatement level, if the further evidence allows the auditor to conclude that actual errors in the population does not exceed the tolerable statement, then the auditor will conclude that no adjustment is necessary. Okay, although the error of 9,000 will be noted in the uncorrected misstatement. Okay, so in case maybe the tolerable misstatement level can hear echoes from someone, so let me mute all of you. So in case now, if the tolerable misstatement was set at 50,000, okay, this is just an assumption, okay. If it was set at 50,000, okay, so let me just have it here. If it was set at 50,000, okay, this is what we had set, the tolerable misstatement, okay, and the expected error was 45,000, okay. Don't forget, the simple conclusion is that the limit is not yet above the limit, okay. So generally, as an auditor, you may want to stop at that point. Okay. You can simply say that there's no any further adjustment that is expected on the population. Okay, so you don't need to expect any adjustment to be done on it. Okay. However, don't forget here, as we mentioned here, you need to notice, okay, in the schedule of uncorrected misstatement. Okay, so you keep a list somewhere as an auditor. Okay. These are misstatements which are found along the way, but they don't require adjustment. Okay, they don't require adjustment. Okay, you may, for example, at the end of the audit, okay, okay, you may want to go through those uncorrected misstatement that you found along all the different accounts that you did audit. Okay, then you can combine them. For example, you can say that are these all these error 1 I found, error 2, error 3, error 4. If I combine them all of them, okay, could they be material? Okay, that's why you want to keep a schedule. Okay, so don't just ignore and throw it away. Okay, so you keep a schedule somewhere, just in case in future we would want to refer back to that matter. Okay, so you keep a schedule of all uncorrected misstatement. Okay, now if it exists, okay, if now in our case here, okay, so in our case here, the total misstatement was 40,000. Okay, and our error was 45,000. Now this exceeds, okay, it exceeds our limit. Okay, if the further evidence indicates there's a misstatement that exceeds the total statement, then the auditor will ask the client to make an adjustment to the financial statement. Okay, so if the error exceeds even after the further audit procedure that you've done, okay, then you're going to ask the client to make an adjustment, okay, to that account that was being affected. Okay, that's is in our case here. Okay, this is what we just done here. Okay, it is 40,000. Okay, the limit. However, the errors that are existing, okay, is 45,000. Okay, so here we can ask the client, kindly make an adjustment to your account. Kindly make an adjustment to your receivables account. Okay, so that's on the test of detail. Okay, I hope it's quite clear. Okay, if you have a question, don't forget you ask. Okay, now on the test of detail, on the test of control, that was it on the test of detail. Okay, so on the test of control, more or less the same thing is going to happen. Okay, the same thing is going to happen. Okay, but don't forget here you are carrying out a test of control. You want to assess the extent of how effective the client internal control system. How effective is the client internal control system? Okay, we want to draw that conclusion. Okay? Can we deem the controls of the company effective or ineffective? Don't forget here, we say that we don't need the projection. We simply do not need a projection. So of course, at the beginning, you need to have already set your tolerable rate of deviation. Okay, so you need to have already set that at the beginning. Okay, so you can say, for example, 10%. Okay, then you're going to be comparing the actual results from the sample versus what was your tolerable rate of deviation. Okay, if it's going to be above, then you can say the control example are not working, or it warrants you to carry out more tests on the client or the client ICS, the client internal control system. If it is below 10%, for example, then we can maybe conclude, okay, that here the controls are, they seem to be controls not working, okay. However, they are not that many, okay. So we can conclude, okay, that the client internal control systems are quite okay, okay. So don't forget here, you don't require the projection, okay. For example, if we do this example here, okay, so go through it then we discuss together. Okay, so go through this example on the test of control. Okay, so take like 2 minutes, then we look at it. Okay, so I presuppose that you have gone through the question. Okay, so this is a test of control. Okay, so don't forget here we don't require the projection. Okay, so that's more or less going to be the key. The only key difference between the test of detail and the test of control. Okay. Okay, so I'll go to my whiteboard. Okay, so let me go to my whiteboard here. Okay, so we have been told, okay, that the error, okay, the adjustments that were made to the internal control system. Okay, don't forget here we're trying to assess as to whether the clients normally the adjustment made to the inventory, okay, either in terms of maybe the pricing, the inventory pricing, maybe the discount given on the inventory in case whatever it is, okay, of the draw that were made, if there was with adjustment made in whatever format that they were in, okay. We want to make an assessment as to whether those adjustments were authorized. Okay, so here the control you don't test is more on the authorization. Okay, to assess whether the adjustments that are made are authorized. Okay, so on authorization. Okay, we told that from the sample. Okay, from the sample that we have carried out here. Okay, so the sample here is made of 225 items. Okay, so we have the sample made of 225 items. We have the adjustment that were made, however, were not authorized. Look, there were 225 adjustment made during the year. So these are the adjustment, okay, that were made during that time period. Okay, the adjustments that were not authorized, okay, we've been told are equal to 18 adjustments. Okay, were they 18? Just a minute. Check. Okay, yes, there were 18 adjustments that were made during the year. Okay, so is 18 out of 225. Okay, so back to our board. So there were 18 adjustments out of 225. Therefore, you can say, therefore, the errors that we expected, okay, therefore, we can say the expected rate of deviation, okay, rate of deviation is equal to 18 out of the 225, okay, and in terms of percent, that give us how much? Okay, let me take one of you, okay, that give us, therefore, our expected rate of deviation. Okay. So Emma, I want to unmute you. Then you can give me the expected error rate.
It's 8%.
You get 8%.
Yes.
Okay, so we get 8%. Okay, let me take someone else here. Samuel.
Yes.
What do you get?
Yes. 8%.
8%. Okay, fair enough. Then can conclude that that figure is okay for all of you. Okay, so we get 8% to be our expected rate of deviation. 8%. Okay, so we compare that 8%. Okay, the 8% being our expected, okay, error rate, okay, expected rate of deviation, okay, versus what was tolerable. Okay, we compare that versus what was tolerable. In this case, the tolerable was set at 13%. Okay, what do we conclude? Okay, let me actually get someone to draw a conclusion for us. Jeffrey, I want to unmute you, Jeffrey.
Yes.
What do we conclude?
The tolerable rate of deviation should be lowered.
No, don't forget here, the tolerable rate of 13%, you set before you did the test. Okay, so it was set the way before the test. Okay, however, from the sample that you've carried out, you find that the error, the expected rate of deviation is 8%. So what conclusion do you draw? That's the question. Yes. Sorry?
Reduce the procedures.
No, before even you go to the procedures. Okay, I want just to do a conclusion before we do further audit procedure. Just a conclusion. Let me take someone else, maybe. Okay. So. Petronila. Petronila. Hey, Petronila, I want to unmute you. Hey, she ran away. Quinta.
Yes,
Okay, what do we conclude?
I think the controls are relatively effective.
Yeah, more or less, that's the conclusion you can draw from here, okay? But the controls seem to be working, okay? Because 8% is below what was our limit. Our limit was 13%, and here the error is 8%. So simply you can conclude the controls of the client seem to be working, okay? They seem to be effective in being able to prevent misstatement from occurring, okay? And that's what is the conclusion you can draw, okay? Okay. So fair enough, let's go back to where we were, okay? Assume the error rate was not anomalous, calculate the error rate that you expect in the population. I think you just gotten 8%, okay? And assuming that the tolerable rate of deviation was set at 13%, explain what action to be taken. So since now here we have found that 8% is below 13%, we have just drawn a conclusion, okay, that the controls seem to be working, okay? So you may want to stop there, okay? You may want to stop there, okay? Or in case maybe you have some out of your own judgment, okay, out of being skeptical, you think that maybe there was an issue on your sample, then you can decide to increase it, okay? But generally, here you can decide to more or less stop there, okay? The error in the sample, I think you just done this. This was 8%, okay? The projected error rate of 8% is below the tolerable rate of deviation limit that was set at 13%. We just said that, okay? This means the internal control is believed to have operated effectively throughout the period, and on the order, okay, the auditor can rely on them when assessing the accuracy and the validity of a judgment made on the inventory system. Okay, so no further testing is required. Okay, however, as mentioned, just in case, okay, you think that maybe you become skeptical, okay, then of course you can carry out further audit procedure. Okay, that's on the test of control. Okay. Clear? It's all clear. Okay. Okay, so here, just make a comment here. Okay, so if no further audit procedure, no further audit testing is required, however, any monetary error resulting from those 18 failures should be noted in the schedule of the uncorrected misstatement. Okay, don't forget, as mentioned, you need to keep this schedule. Okay, why do you need to keep it? Okay, at the end of the day, at the end of the audit, okay, you will need to compare what are all the misstatements during the year that were uncorrected. Okay, could they be material? Okay. If at that point there will be material, then of course you need to ask the management, okay, to make adjustment where necessary, okay. But you want to keep that schedule, okay, not ignoring. Don't forget, we don't mean that you ignore those misstatements, okay. You keep a schedule of those misstatements, okay. I hope that's very clear, okay. Don't forget here, we do not require projection, okay. We do not require the projection because this is a test of control. If it was a test of detail, then that's when you do need to make the projection, okay. Okay, this is the key stages, okay, just to conclude on our audit sampling, okay. So the key stages that we went through, okay, determine the objective of this, the main purpose. What's the purpose of your sample? What do you want to achieve out of the sample that you're testing? Okay, determine the objective determine what's my objective or doing the test. Okay, of course, determine what is going to be the characteristics of the population you're carrying out. Okay, determine the sample size. Choose the method of selection you want to do: statistical, non-statistical. Predict the error, and of course, you carry out the evaluation of the result. Okay, we can go ahead and subdivide this into other procedures. Okay, so like into 6 procedures, into 6 steps models. Okay, determine the objective of the objective. Okay, so you begin with trying to know, okay, what is my purpose? Why do I want to do this test of control? Why do I want to do this test of detail? Okay, know how is the population? Okay, is it would refer to as, for example, okay, is it homogeneous? Okay, homogeneous. What you mean by that is okay, so is it homogeneous or is it heterogeneous? Okay, so you need, okay, homogeneous simply mean therefore that you expect that the items within the population are the same. Okay, they are the same. Okay, what do we mean by homogeneous? Okay, that the items within the population are the same. Okay, they have this, they share similar features. Okay, if they're heterogeneous, that means therefore it means that the items, the sampling units, okay, are quite different. Okay, they're quite diverse. Okay, so you need to know how is the population. Okay, is it homogeneous or is it heterogeneous? If it is heterogeneous, okay, that they're different, then of course that means therefore a grouping could be a very big issue. Okay, so it might mean therefore that as you group, the use of stratified sampling method, the use of cluster sampling method, the use of random sampling method might not be so good. Okay, because as we can see, the items are very different; they are quite diverse. Okay, so you need to know, understand what is the features of the population that I'm carrying out. Okay, choose sampling method. Okay, of course here you know, should I use, for example, the statistical sampling method, okay, or should I use the non-statistical sampling method? If I use the statistical sampling method, okay, if you use statistical sampling method, which method should I use? You know all the different methods I have. Okay, if it is non-statistical, which method should I be using? Okay, you project the errors. Okay, if you just done. Okay, so in case it's a test of detail, then of course you project the error. Okay, if it is a test of control, don't forget you don't project the error. Okay, then of course at the end you make an evaluation of the result of your sample. Okay, clear? That was clear. So right now it's 9:02. Okay, so David. So let me click on, where is David? David, should we take a break?
15-minute break.
Okay, so it's now 9:03, so you can meet at 9:18. Okay, so fair enough. Once you come back, you can exit, you can leave the meeting, but you come back, you log into the same link that you have. Okay, so you can meet therefore at 9:18. Okay, so see you then.
Okay, see you then.
Okay, welcome back for our second session. Okay, and we concluded by discussing on the audit sampling. Okay, so now I want us, okay, so I want to make a reference to ISA 530, okay, our reference ISA, okay, and I want us to discuss on the factors that do influence the sample size, okay, factors that can influence the sample size. Okay, so let me project my ISA. Okay, so let me ask. So David, you can see my screen on the ISA. David.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, fine. Okay, so what factors influence the sample size? Okay, so should I use a large sample? Should I use a small sample? So of course, it's going to be based on a number of things. Okay, so there's a number of things that can influence. So I'll just go briefly. So because look, this is the ISA, so I think you can, all of us have an access to it. Okay, so I'll comment briefly on what are some of the factors that can influence the sample size. Okay, should I use 10 units? Should I use 100 units? Should I use 50? Should I use 100? So what factors will influence? Okay, One of the key factors that can influence the sample size, okay, is the auditor's assessment of an increase in the extent to which the auditor's risk assessment takes into account relevant controls. Okay, so in case definitely, if you are trying to audit more controls, but definitely, if you're trying to assess whether there are more controls upon which you do want to assess, okay, how effective they are, okay. If, for example, the risk of material misstatement is going to be, if you do want to have the risk as low as possible, okay, what does that mean? Okay, definitely, that means therefore, as auditor, you need to increase the sample size. Okay, what is the risk, or what is, do you want? What's, if you remember on the audit risk model that we discussed, inherent risk, control risk, and of course detection risk. Okay, so in case on the risk, if the risk of financial statement is going to be, you want it to be as low as possible, that implies therefore you need to use a larger sample. Okay, so in case the auditor's assessment of the risk of material misstatement need to be as low as possible, okay, that implies therefore you need to have you need to increase your sample size. Okay, you need to increase your sample size. Okay. Okay, so that's more towards the risk of material misstatement. In case you want it to be as low as possible, that implies therefore that you increase your sample size. Okay, so this is from the ISA. So in case you want more notes, definitely you need to check it out. Okay. So an increase in the tolerable rate of deviation. Okay, so an increase in the tolerable rate of deviation. If, for example, we look from our example that we had before, it was 13%. Okay, that was our tolerable rate of deviation. Okay, the one we just concluded. Okay, 13%. Okay, so in case, for example, you're going to increase it. Okay, for example, from 13% to, let's say, 20%. Okay, so the first you need to ask, you need to assess. Okay, why am I increasing the rate of deviation? Okay, it's because maybe you deem the controls to be working. Okay, therefore, the higher, okay, the tolerable rate of deviation, okay, that you want, okay, that means therefore you need more or less, you need to have a smaller sample. Okay, because the reason why you're increasing, okay, your tolerable rate of deviation is because you deem the control to be working. Okay, or you have no reason to suspect that the client internal control system is not working. Okay, so in case of the case, therefore, you have a lower sample size. Okay, you have a lower sample size. Okay. Then the next thing, okay, is an increase in the expected rate of deviation of the population to be tested. Okay, so an increase in the expected rate of deviation of the population to be tested. Okay, simply is like the reverse of it. Okay, that here we expect that maybe the controls of the company are not working. Okay, the control of the company are not working. That's why there is an expectation, okay, of higher deviations. Okay, maybe the controls of the company are not maybe are not they are not authorized. For example, in case is on the side of authorization. Okay, so that we expect. Okay, that maybe there's a lapse within the ICS of the company. If that is what you are expecting, even before you did the test, okay, then what does that mean? It means use a larger sample, okay, so you can do test as many items as possible, okay, so an increase in the expected rate of deviation of the population that is being tested now, okay. Okay, so that's on an increase in the expected rate of deviation of the population being tested, okay. Okay. Another factor is an increase in the auditor desired level of assurance that the tolerable rate of deviation is not exceeded by the actual rate of deviation. Okay, I think you already discussed that. Okay, that means therefore use a higher sample size. Okay, so simply you need to use a higher sample size. Okay, then we point number 5. Okay, point number 5 here is an increase in the number of sample units of population. So in case the sample here was 100. Okay, so if for example we have items here. If we have a population, okay, population population, okay, of let's say 5,000 items, okay, and here you have population, okay, of let's say 500 items, definitely, okay. So since this is a larger sample, since this is a larger population, that implies therefore for us to have the sample to be a good representative of the population, there is no way you can have the two set of population having the same sample size. That can't happen, okay. So the larger population, definitely, that implies therefore you need to increase your sample size. Okay, so that the sample can act as a good representative of the entire population. Okay, so that is maybe another factor that you may want to consider. Okay. Okay, and the same applies in case you're doing a test of detail. Okay, so audit assessment, the first factor is audit assessment of the risk of material misstatement. I think we already discussed that. Okay. An increase in the desired level of assurance, we already mentioned that. An increase in the tolerable misstatement, we already mentioned that on the test control, which was an increase in the tolerable rate of deviation, same thing here. Okay. An increase in the amount of misstatement that the auditor expect to be in the population. Okay, the same one you have discussed under the test of control. Okay, in case you expect more misstatement to exist in the population, that may imply therefore you need to increase your sample size. Okay, which we already also mentioned that. Okay, the population. Okay, we can measure that. Okay, so number 7 was the number of sample units in the population. Okay. Okay, so more or less that's okay. That is that on the factors that do influence the sample size. Okay. So David is reminding me to check on a question here. Okay, so let me check it out. This is the question. So May 2018 question 3B. Okay, so I think we can check that out. Okay, so May 2018 question 3B. Okay, so go through that question. Okay. I think we did start yesterday. However, we did answer that part. Okay, so let's go through it. Okay. May 2018 question 3B. David, are you sure about that? Because the May 2018 question I have here is not, it's on payroll. So I think it should be 2016. I think May 2016. Kami is telling me it should be May 2016. Yes, I think it should be May 2016. Okay. Okay, so May 2016 question 3B. Yes. Okay. So the first part, okay, B part 1 is asking us, describe the impact of each of the following situations on the sample size. An increase in the extent to which the auditor risk assessment takes into account relevant control. Okay, I think you just done that. We just mentioned right now. Okay, so if I was to go back to our ISA, okay, so it's on the test of control. Okay, maybe just a quick click up. Okay. So here, what is asking, an increase in the extent to which the auditor risk assessment takes into account the relevant control. An increase in the same, as we see, the examiner has just copied from the ISA, just as it is. Okay, part 1, an increase in the extent to which the auditor's risk assessment takes into account the relevant control. Okay, it's just where we have it from, exactly from the ISA. Okay. So anyway, in case you think that you want to reduce your, you need to lower, okay, you need to have a lower a risk of material misstatement, that implies therefore you need to increase your sample size. If your risk of material misstatement is going to be high, okay, therefore simply you need to reduce your sample size. Okay, so they go more or less in the opposite direction. Okay, that's on part 1. An increase in the use of other substantive procedure directed at the same assertion. Okay, an increase in the other substantive procedure at the same assertion. So more or less, this one is on the test of detail. Okay, so in case you have more other procedure, okay, not just that one procedure. Okay, there are other procedures that you're using to test the same thing. Okay, anyway, before I answer, let's go straight to that. Okay, and here it is. Okay, an increase in the use of let me annotate it. Okay, so it's here. So let's go. Okay, so here, okay, an increase in the use of other subset procedures direct to the same assertion. Okay, so you have other procedures that can help you in arriving at the same conclusion. If that's the case, then have a lower sample. Okay, it means you're being assisted. Okay, there are other procedures that help you in drawing the conclusion. So if that's the case, therefore, you have you decrease your sample size. Okay. Then here, part 3, okay, an increase in the auditor's assessment of the risk of material misstatement. Okay, so an increase in the audit assessment of material misstatement. Okay. Okay, an increase. So part 1 is simultaneous, an increase in the auditor assessment of risk of material misstatement. Okay, so in case you expect that there will be more misstatement in the population, then of course what do? You increase your sample size. Okay, and that's on that part B. Okay, question. Okay, so suppose that you go to that ISA, it can help you out. Okay, now the ISA, I don't know. Okay. The best I will close this. Okay. And I can share it out. Okay, there's no problem. I can share it out on the WhatsApp group of this ISA, which I think could be good for you. Okay. Don't forget all the notes that you normally have that make reference to the ISA. The ISA, the name of the ISA is always on the notes. Okay, so you always find the name of the ISA on the notes that you normally use. Okay, like for example, this on audit sampling, we are using ISA 530. Okay, so simply in case, for example, you want to go search, simply search ISA 530 and you're going to get it, okay, from the International Federation of Accountants. Okay, so that marks the end of audit sampling. That marks the end of audit sampling, unless you have a question. Okay. Okay, question. Emma. Emma.
Yes.
It was all clear.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, fair enough. If all is clear, then that is good. Now I want us we do a simple multiple choice question. Okay, they're just 10 questions, which I think you should not take more than 10 minutes. Okay, or even less than that. Okay, so I would want us I hope all of you can access the e-learning. Okay, I hope all of you can access the e-learning. Okay, then so I would propose that all of us go to the e-learning. Okay, so I'll show you. We do a quick MCQ, 10 questions. Okay, so I think it should be done by within 10 minutes maximum. Okay, so if you go to the e-learning, okay, and if you check on your e-learning, so go to e-learning and you do your normal login. Okay,